Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. Widespread reports in all the papers this morning that 57 Muslim families were converted by the Bajrang Dal and Dharma Jagran Manch by offering them inducements and allurement created a furor in Parliament today. So tonight we ask, if true, are such conversions morally justified? And beyond that, in a country like India, should conversions happen at all? Or do they imply disrespect for someone else's religion? My guests are VHP spokesperson Vinod Bansal, the former spokesperson of the Delhi Catholic Archdiocese, Father Dominic Emmanuel, a member of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, Kamal Farooqi, and one of the country's foremost sociologists, Shiv Vishwanathan. Vinod Bansal, today's Indian Express, Times of India, Hindustan Times and Hindu, and probably every other paper as well, reports that the 57 Muslim families converted to Hinduism yesterday by the Bajrang Dal and the Dharma Jagran Manch were lured by promises of ration cards, BPL cards and Aadhaar cards. How do you justify this?
देखिए, धर्मांतर नहीं है, ये घर वापसी है. जो लोग
आपके लिए घर वापसी है, वो तो उसको घर वापसी नहीं बुलाते, वो तो आप ही कह रहे हैं.
ना, मेरे लिए नहीं, ये समाज के लिए है, प्रत्येक व्यक्ति के लिए है. समाज के नियम कहते हैं. देखिए,
कैसे पता कि ये घर वापस आना चाहते थे? आपने तो अखबारों में छापा है कि बीपीएल कार्ड देने के भरोसे पे या राशन कार्ड देने के भरोसे पे या कोई और कार्ड देने के भरोसे पे इनको लिया.
बिल्कुल गलत है, ये बिल्कुल गलत है, सरासर झूठ है. ना हम कोई अथॉरिटी जो राशन कार्ड दे सकते हैं, ना बीपीएल कार्ड देने की हमारे पास कोई राइट्स हैं. उत्तर प्रदेश में सपा की सरकार है, सबको पता है.
तो कोई
विश्व हिंदू परिषद और बजरंग दल का कोई कार्यकर्ता
नहीं दिया?
ऑफ कोर्स, बिल्कुल नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं.
जब यही लोग अखबार में कह रहे हैं, और एक नहीं 5, 6, 10 लोग कह रहे हैं कि हमें नंबर 1 इस प्रॉमिस पे बुलाया गया और नंबर 2 हमें पता नहीं था कि कन्वर्जन होने वाला है. तो अगर ये अपने आप कह रहे हैं तो आप कह रहे हैं कि झूठ बोल रहे हैं.
नहीं होने वाला, तो इसका मतलब कन्वर्जन कहाँ हुआ? एक बात देखिए, आप स्वयं ही कह रहे हैं इस बात को. अखबार की रिपोर्ट अगर कह रही है कि हमें नहीं पता कन्वर्जन हो रहे हैं. अगर कोई यज्ञ करता है तो उसमें आपको आपत्ति क्या? किसी को आपत्ति क्यों? अगर किसी ने टीका लगवाया तो उसमें आपत्ति किसी को क्यों? एक बात. तीसरी बात यह कि अगर मान लो 387 लोग जिनकी जो आंकड़ा मीडिया में आ रहा है, उसमें से अगर 3 लोग बयान दे करके उनसे बयान दिलवा करके कह दिया जाए कि नहीं हमें तो इंड्यूस किया गया, हमें लोभ लालच दिया गया, तो it cannot be generalized, sir.
Well, that's what you're saying. The press was fairly confident in its report. You're questioning the veracity of the press, and you have a right to do so. Mr. Farooqi, Ajju Chauhan, the program coordinator responsible for the conversions, insists the conversions were voluntary. Secondly, just as you've heard from Mr. Bansal, he also says this was not a conversion, it's what he calls a ghar wapsi. And the reason he gives is that earlier generations of these families converted from Hinduism to Islam. To what extent do you accept those as the
Absolutely. In fact, there are 2 issues in it. Number 1, whatever he is saying, in fact, constitutionally absolutely incorrect. And in their own states, wherever they were in rule, the kind of enactment which they had brought in, you very rightly used the word allurement, fraudulent, all those kind of things are there. So it was made by so many. Even the Gujarat government has brought in a legislation about it, and it was said that all those people who are being converted, these steps have to be taken, and they have to inform the people whether they have been converted with their own will or not. This is point number 1. Point number 2 is, as far as the ghar wapsi is concerned, I really fail to understand why are they trying to bring in all those kind of things here. I have got a very basic question, Karan, on this. In fact, unfortunately, either it is the Prime Minister is absolutely not interested in getting into all those kind of things, or there is something else. But
okay, let's stop there. Leave that question hanging in the air, because I'll come to the PM in a moment's time. But before I do, I want to come to Father Dominic, because unfortunately, it's not just Hindu groups that convert people on the basis of financial or other promises. Philip Goldberg, writing in HuffingtonPost.com on the 19th of February this year, says Christian missionaries are doing the same thing, even if not the official Catholic Church. He says it's quite clear that fundamentalist sects backed by American money are as guilty as the Bajrang Dal and the Dharma Jagran Manch. Just a moment, let me finish the question. I'm not asking you. Are as guilty as the Bajrang Dal and the Dharma Jagran Manch of converting through offer of inducement and allurement?
First of all, I am not spokesperson for, you quite clearly said that the Catholic Church does not do, and I can say for all actually, because my simple argument is this, and asking that guy who you mentioned just now on Huffington Post, that in this country, when you say that the Christians are converting the poor by allurement, my simple question has always been, and it has never been answered satisfactorily, is that if in this country, where the population of the country lives below poverty line, more than 45% of people live there, and the missionaries have been here for last 2,000 years, tell me, where are those converted people in the last 2,000 years out of the 50% of poor people?
In other words,
this is all a false propaganda.
In other words, what you're saying is that if conversion was happening by Christians on the basis
by
of
allurement,
the number of Christians should be more than 3%.
Absolutely. 2.3%.
Let me put this to you, Shri Vishwanathan. How do you first of all respond to conversions where money or other promises in kind are made to lure poor, vulnerable people? Do you believe that that is an acceptable way of seeking their change of faith, or is it playing upon their vulnerability?
Look, I think the Bajrang Dal is treating every other religion as a refugee religion. Let me make 4 points. There is conversion as currency. At one time you had rice Christians, now you have rice Hindus. Second, you have conversion as political rectification, which the Bajrang Dal is doing. Third, there's conversion as an act of true belief. And fourth, there's conversion as social transformation, the way the Dalits have done. I don't think we should confuse these four. But now to come to the statement of the Bajrang Dal official, I'm against conversion, but I'm also against historical rectification. If he had talked about belief, I'd respect it. His notion of homecoming is a rectification of history. It's Stalinist, it's crude, and it's very, very un-Hindu.
Do you answer that for me, Mr. Bansal? It's Stalinist, it's crude, and it's very, very un-Hindu.
देखिए, धर्मांतरण का हम हमेशा से विरोध करते आए हैं. धर्मांतरण राष्ट्रांतरण है, इस बात को हम क्लियर कट में मानते हैं.
मुझे एक चीज बताएं. I told you speak fluent English. Why don't you speak English on an English program?
मेरे को अच्छा लगता है, मैं अपनी मातृभाषा से प्यार करता हूँ, इसलिए मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ.
आए तो थे आप अंग्रेजी प्रोग्राम पे और आपने कहा भी था कि आप अंग्रेजी बोलेंगे, तो बोलिए फिर. और सब बोल रहे हैं.
मैं कभी नहीं बोला.
चलिए,
मैंने नहीं कहा.
बोलते जाइएगा हिंदी में, बोलते जाइएगा हिंदी में. आपका हक है, आपका हक है, आपका हक है, बोलिए.
हाँ, देखिए बात यह है कि इसमें धर्मांतरण पर प्रतिबंध लगना चाहिए. हमने डे 1 से मांग की हुई है. आज संसद में जब बात उठी है तो मैं आपके चैनल के माध्यम से मैं बात कर रहा हूं कि धर्मांतरण पर प्रतिबंध लगना चाहिए, नहीं लगना चाहिए.
It is very, very un-Hindu, and he was talking specifically about your attempt to what he called rectify history, which is how he interprets ghar वापसी. Answer that.
नहीं, ऐसा कोई रेक्टिफिकेशन ऑफ हिस्ट्री कहाँ इसमें इन्वॉल्व है? घर वापसी है.
अच्छा, घर वापसी को क्या कहते हैं?
भाई अगर कोई
you are speaking, you are using all those very Sanskrit word, in fact, which I know you can speak English very well, but perhaps you feel like it. But what do you mean by घर वापसी? घर वापसी का मतलब यह है कि कभी 1000 साल पहले, 500 साल पहले कोई घर से चला गया था, 50 साल पहले चला गया था,
वापस आ रहे हैं.
It's a matter of history. Now you are trying to correct it. That's what actually.
No, we are not going to correct it. वो वापस आ रहे हैं. देखिए,
वो वापस आ रहे हैं. वो वापस आ रहे हैं. टोपी बना के उनको क्या कर रहे हैं? What actually you are trying to do? You are emotionalizing the whole country. You are trying to create a bad impact.
आप देखिए मेरी बात सुनिए.
This is not a quarrel between the two of you. This is an attempt to try and understand issues. I'm going to go back to Shri Vishwanathan before I come back to my panel here in studio. Mr. Vishwanathan, do you accept as an independent observer that this ghar wapsi is happening voluntarily? That Muslims have decided 50 years after their conversion, or maybe 500 years later, that they now wish to return to what's their original faith? Or do you believe the newspaper reports and the many accounts from the Muslims in those reports that they're only doing it either because they were misled or because as poor people, the attraction of what's being offered was irresistible?
Karan, there are two problems here. The poor have always been a target for conversion. There has to be some form of constitutional protection for this. Second, I'm afraid my Bajrang Dal friend is one of his worst enemies. Because if you're against conversion, then stop reconverting people. Whether it's conversion or reconversion, they're based on the same methodology.
I didn't interrupt you, don't interrupt him. Carry on, Mr. Vishwanathan.
So, let's put it this way. It's a very strange kind of homecoming, because then every other religion is the kind of refugee politics till I return home to my original Hinduism. As the Hindu, I don't need this kind of political rectification.
Okay.
I don't need this politics of anxiety. And three, I would like a greater honesty about Hinduism itself.
Let me put this to you,
We
Mr.
are
Bansal.
not a Semiticizing religion.
The Economic Times today says that on Christmas, the RSS plans to convert
मीनाक्षीपुरम जैसी घटनाएं हुई तब सारा मीडिया और सभी सेकुलर
when 82% of the country is Hindu and only 13% is Muslim and 2.3 Christian. Large scale कैसे हो रहा है?
नहीं मुझे बताइए,
बता रहे हैं आपको।
डेमोग्राफी क्या कहती है? 1947 में मुसलमानों की पॉपुलेशन कितनी थी, हिंदुओं की पॉपुलेशन कितनी, व्हाट इज द ग्रोथ ऑफ पॉपुलेशन? आप उसको देखिए, आपको पता लग जाएगा ये डेमोग्राफिक इम्बैलेंस कैसे हो रहा है।
Conversion, it may be growth rates of the people and the birth rates.
नहीं, दोनों ही कारण जिम्मेदार हैं और बड़े पैमाने पर क्रिश्चियन मिशनरीज का पैसा आ रहा है।
Is it right for you to set out on Christmas Day to do this?
बड़े पैमाने पर जो फॉरेन फंड का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है इसमें, और स्वामी लक्ष्मणानंद सरस्वती जैसे व्यक्ति की हत्या।
लेकिन आप मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे रहे, आप किसी और चीज पे भाषण दे रहे हैं। मैंने आपको एक सरल सवाल पूछा था, मैं एक बार फिर रिपीट करूंगा, उस पर ध्यान देके उसका जवाब दीजिएगा मुझे। Is it right for you to do on Christmas Day of all days, in Aligarh of all cities, a plan to convert 4,000 Christian and 1,000 Muslim families? Are you not playing with fire?
Not to convert.
Then what to do?
ये घर वापसी हो रही है, अगर हो रही है तो जो लोग गए हैं वो स्वेच्छा से वापस आने के लिए उन्होंने कहा है। हमने किसी को कन्वर्ट नहीं करना।
इन्होंने एडवांस नोटिस दी कि आपने गिन लिया कि जी 4,000 इनके होंगे और 1,000 उनका। देखिए आपको क्या एडवांस नोटिस मिली है?
नहीं, देखिए मीडिया का रिपोर्ट है, मैंने नहीं कहा।
माफ करिएगा, मीडिया की रिपोर्ट बेस्ड अपॉन राजेश्वर सिंह, द लोकल प्रचारक ऑफ द आरएसएस के। जी राजेश्वर जी भी झूठ बोल रहे हैं।
नहीं, मैं नहीं कह रहा आपको, ये तो आरएसएस से बात करनी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं आरएसएस का प्रवक्ता नहीं हूं, विश्व हिंदू परिषद के बारे में कह सकता हूं।
I want to come to the two of you with some specific details of what Rajeshwar Singh has said. First of all, Mr. Farooqi, Rajeshwar Singh says,
I don't have any other such information. In fact, he may be having some information because he's an RSS man, he's a Pracharak, and Bansal Saab is from his family. They may be having better information about it.
Is this going to lead to potential trouble in Aligarh?
That is what actually they meant. Actually, they are not doing it for the love of Hinduism. They are not doing it. In fact, they are fooling the entire Hindu community as well. Because whatever they are doing, they in fact are playing with fire, and they are putting the whole thing in such a situation the country will have it.
Let me put it before you answer. Let me put. I want to put something to you first. Wait, Father Dominic. The same Rajeshwar Singh has told the Economic Times that Christmas was chosen because the RSS wants to create a trial of strength between Christianity and Hinduism. And this is what Rajeshwar Singh says. If their religion is better, then they can stop them, i.e. stop the conversions. If they come to us, then on Christmas it's the biggest rejection of their faith. How do you respond to that?
This is not their first time. They did that in 1998 in Dangs. They started pelting stones, and for 10 days they attacked churches, schools.
But don't go to the past.
No,
Talk about the future.
Christmas Day. I'm talking about Christmas Day.
Not at all. This is not at all. We never.
No, I didn't interrupt. I didn't interrupt.
Mr. Bansal, I don't think it's fair to interrupt.
So they did that in the past. And secondly, don't they know the significance of Christmas? This is clearly to provoke and create problems, and I think they're creating problems for the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And I don't know why he is just keeping quiet. Thirdly, Karan, 1 minute. He mentioned a while ago, I don't know if you followed it, that every time somebody changes his religion, he also changes his patriotism to that country. He mentioned that. Raj Dharam Parivartan ke saath Raj Rashtraantran hota hai. Now these are the type of things.
क्योंकि वो कुछ कह रहे हैं, इसका मतलब नहीं है कि सच है और हकीकत है. Swami Vivekananda is capable of saying things that were wrong. Just as Gandhiji was capable of saying things that were wrong. You really mean to say that if a man is a Muslim or a Christian, he's not patriotic? Because that's the implication of what you said.
He said this.
And I put it to you, Mr. Bansal, it is unforgivable.
I strongly
just now said it.
Unforgivable.
I take strong exception to that.
मैं आपको प्रूफ दे सकता हूँ.
आप मुझे प्रूफ ना दीजिएगा, आप माफी दीजिएगा. आप माफी दीजिएगा क्योंकि आप एक स्लर डाल रहे हैं on Indian Muslims and Indian Christians.
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है.
Mr. Vishwanathan,
मैं आपको बताता हूँ. देखिए,
Mr. Vishwanathan, Christmas is just 15 days away. You've just heard what Rajeshwar Singh said. You've seen how Father Dominic and Mr. Farooqi have clearly indicated this will create the potential for not tension but violence. Do you believe, with Christmas 15 days away, that Mr. Modi himself must step in and prevent this event happening? Or do you think in a democracy,
yes,
he's fine and he can let it go ahead? What is Mr. Modi's duty in these circumstances?
Well, if he's a representative of the RSS, he can behave the way he wants. But if he is Prime Minister, it's time he steps in. He's responsible to the nation. And anyone who confuses belief in a religion with patriotism is actually creating a false constitution.
Well, Professor Vishwanathan, has Mr. Rajnath Singh not clearly, openly declared that why should we be directing the, why should RSS be directing the government from behind? Because I am RSS, the Prime Minister is forward Pracharak, he said it openly, so we are all RSS.
In other words, what you're saying is that Mr. Modi will not respond as a Prime Minister, he'll respond as an RSS Pracharak. That's what you're suggesting.
That is the hypothesis Mr. Shivanathan has prepared, and I think it is because the fact that he is silent, his silence is deafening.
Can I come back to you, Mr. Bansal? I want to put this to you very calmly and coolly. We all love India. We want the prosperity of India. The Prime Minister is dedicated to that. But what your brethren are doing is to use religion to divide the country.
Not at all.
And let me finish and then you answer. And you're deliberately saying things about Aligarh, a city identified with Muslims, or about Christmas, a day identified with Christians, to create an incendiary situation. You're endangering the harmony of this country.
नहीं सर, देखिए एक तो ये स्टेटमेंट हमने नहीं दिया।
राजेश्वर सिंह कौन
दिया होगा, मुझे नहीं पता।
नहीं,
मैं देखिए
आरएसएस के प्रचारक हैं।
मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ ना, आपको वो आरएसएस के प्रचारक ने अगर कोई स्टेटमेंट दिया है तो उनसे ही बात करिए। मैं
Are you saying you disagree with him? Are you saying you disagree with him? कह दीजिए। If you disagree with him, कह दीजिए।
मैं कह तो रहा हूँ जी आपको कि स्टेटमेंट मैंने नहीं सुना, न मैं राजेश्वर जी को उतना जानता कि उन्होंने क्या बोला, क्या
disagree with it, ये तो कहिएगा, ये आप नहीं कह रहे।
मेरी बात तो सुनिए ना जी, मैं ये बात कह रहा हूँ कि अगर कोई व्यक्ति या कोई संस्था या कोई अपना परिवार स्वेच्छा से घर वापसी करना चाहता है तो चाहे क्रिसमस डे के अंदर करे या दिवाली के अंदर करे या किसी और दिन के अंदर, क्यों नहीं करे?
नहीं, आप
मुझे बताइए, आप मुझे बताइए क्रिसमस।
No, you tell me, don't you know the importance of Christmas?
देखिए
मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछ सकता हूं?
मैं बोल रहा था तो आपने मना कर दिया।
आप कहते जा रहे हैं कि ये घर वापसी है, आप कहते जा रहे हैं कि ये वॉलंटरी है। How do you then know 15 days in advance that 4,000 Christian families want to come back? How do you know 1,000 Muslims? Is there a register where these people write in advance कि जी 15 दिन के बाद मैं घर वापसी करूंगा? ये आपको इन एडवांस में कैसे पता लग गया?
जी, मैं वापस वही आ रहा हूं कि जिस सब्जेक्ट के बारे में मुझे नहीं पता कि अलीगढ़ में क्या होने वाला है,
तो फिर आप सब्जेक्ट के बारे कुछ एक्सप्लेनेशन क्यों दे रहे कि घर वापसी और कन्वर्जन नहीं है? ये आपको कैसे पता है?
ये मुझे पता है ना जी,
कैसे पता?
क्योंकि हमें पता है,
कुछ नहीं पता, लेकिन ये एक चीज पता है।
क्यों नहीं पता? देखिए मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कन्वर्जन में बिलीव नहीं करता।
He is justifying 25th December.
बताया था आपको, पहली बार बताया था।
Does he not know what is the meaning of 25th December? What is the importance of 25th December? Is that not going to hurt the people who are citizens of this country?
करते हैं उसमें?
Karan साहब,
हमने देखा है उसको
दिवाली।
हमने देखा है कि आप 25 दिसंबर को कितने लोगों को आप फंसाते हैं। आप देखिए कितनी बड़ी संख्या में अगर आप चर्चेस की बात देखोगे तो बड़ी संख्या में लोग,
you bring one person,
not one person, 100%.
Gentlemen, let's not quarrel.
सर, पहली बात तो यह है कि मैं भी और मैं समझता हूँ फादर भी, हम इसको इमोशनलाइज नहीं होने देंगे। इनकी पूरी कोशिश यही है दैट दे आर गोइंग टू डू लाइक दिस। लेकिन अभी जो इन्होंने कहा था उसके ऊपर ये माफी मांगेंगे या मसीह को उस चीज को बिल्कुल कंफर्म करेंगे जिन्होंने संस्कृत में लफ्ज कुछ बोले थे?
हाँ, मैं बताता हूं।
क्या बोले थे आपने, जरा बताइएगा जरा। What you had said about the patriotism? You think that I am lesser patriotic than you?
सुन तो लीजिए।
No. Why either you withdraw your words?
देखिए सुनोगे नहीं तो मैं
you have already said it. I don't want to listen anything more.
No.
What you have said, you either say you have said wrong, or you withdraw it, or you apologize it, or you don't apologize.
नहीं, अगर आप सुनना नहीं चाहते तो
हम नहीं सुनना चाहेंगे क्योंकि आप ऑलरेडी बोल चुके हैं।
ठीक है, तो
आप सब बोल चुके हैं पहले। आप
मैं अभी भी बोल रहा हूँ, धर्मांतरण राष्ट्रांतरण के बराबर है। और सुनिए मेरी बात को, और ये प्रूफ कैसे प्रूव है? पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश, नॉर्थ ईस्ट, कश्मीर इस बात का साक्षी है कि जहां जब हिंदू घटा देश बटा।
बंसल साहब शांत होइएगा, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं, फिर मैं शो को एंड करूंगा।
बताइए।
Are you not embarrassed? I won't use the word ashamed, I'll just say embarrassed. Are you not embarrassed to cast these slurs on Indians?
Yes.
Just because their religion is different to yours?
No, 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 not at all.
You're not embarrassed.
देखिए
You're not embarrassed.
नहीं मैं
Please, they're not exposed. I'm happy that
आप
they're
ये
being
कैसे
exposed.
रिलीजन देखिए, धर्म एक है, भारत हिंदू राष्ट्र है, उसका धर्म हिंदू है,
हिंदू राष्ट्र नहीं है,
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली नहीं है।
अरे भाई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में रिलीजन की बात करिए, धर्म की बात नहीं
I'm
करिए।
going to go back to Mr. Vishwanathan for the last word. Mr. Vishwanathan, if Mr. Modi doesn't act prime ministerially, how much of a test of his credibility will it be in the eyes of the Indian people? You have to give me a quick answer in just 10 seconds.
I think that will be a colossal failure, because if he believes in the constitution and he believes in the nation, he has to believe in the multiplicity of beliefs that makes India. He has no alternative.
Can I ask?
That is a very good point at which to end. He has no alternative. No, Father, we're out of time. Forgive
One
me.
question,
We're out
only
of
one
time. We're
short
out of time
question.
completely. But my thanks to you for coming. My thanks also to Mr. Vishwanathan. If all of you have been, thanks for watching.